Hey everybody, Tamara here, and I'm so excited to have something to think about that's not a freaking virus. First off, if you hear a little rumble in the background, that is my fan, and that's what's keeping me alive because I live in the tropics and it's hot AF today. Okay. I am so delighted and honored that Robert from Story Detective invited me along for the first ever Wordstock. I love it. It's an AuthorTube seminar on writing where there's about a baker's dozen of writers who are in different stages of their writer's life, whether they're just starting out or they've published several times, whether traditional or self. That's not the point. The point is that we are taking a topic and discussing it from our different viewpoints and then presenting it to you in the hopes that giving these different viewpoints will help to broaden the conversation here on AuthorTube. So I hope that you will check out Robert's channel. It's in the description, and also the playlist that has everyone else's videos. That's also linked in the description as well. This first topic is how to start a story. You know, that sounds like such an easy thing, right? How do you start a story? Simple. But it's not. That first page, that first 500 words or so, that is what grips your audience and brings them in. And a weak beginning, granted, it can be overlooked, but it's harder to get your audience to come in, sit down a spell, and listen to your tale. So I've decided that the way I wanted to talk about it was to talk about Blood Roses and Honeysuckles. And I discussed that book a little bit, more of my editing experience in my editor video, my bad editor video rather. I will link that up top if you want to check that out if you haven't already. But today I want to talk to you about how I changed the beginning of the story. Because as I'd said, I started that in 2006. And from 2006 until it was published in 2016, it went through a lot of different iterations. 2017, right? I don't have a copy of the rough draft from the original. I'm sure it's somewhere, but I can't find it right now. But what I could find was the beginning that I took with me to a writer conference a few years back. And of course, at this writers conference, there was different seminars that you could attend. And one of them that I decided to attend was how do you catch an agent? I didn't really care about grabbing an agent's attention, but what I wanted to learn was how to write a good beginning of a story so I could grip an audience, grab in a reader. And agents, I mean, they go through a lot of stories, so clearly that person would have more experience than me. The way it was set up was that everyone who decided that they wanted to be a part of this, they gave the first, I think it was like the first page or two of their story with no name on it, just the title of the novel itself, and it was totally anonymous. Except, of course, us in our little tables, we'd be like, oh, that one's mine. And sometimes it was, oh, that one was mine. So you tell me, which one was I? Was I that was mine, or that was mine? All right, here. Chapter 1. The alarm blare from the 70s, 80s, and today. Addie White Cotton wished she could get one of those alarms that played her mixed CDs, all grunge all the time, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Meat Puppets, Alice in Chains, and a fucking course, Nirvana. She rushed through the effort of washing, brushing, and dressing. No grooming of special places today. She grabbed a bagel on the way out the door and jumped into her sedate tan sedan. She ate the food, put her hair into a bun, had a smoke, and drove to work at a breakneck speed, oblivious to car horns blaring in her wake. No. Boring, right? It's boring. It's mundane. Granted, a lot of times when you start a story, you could start a story when you're in the middle of action in midi res, which means literally in the middle of the action. So you've read sometimes where someone's like on the run and is in the middle of their run and you don't even know what's going on yet. That's in the middle of the action. Or you could start in someone's day where it's going normal and then it takes a turn. Mine was along that lines of where I was telling you the normal day and it takes a turn. However, the way I wrote it was so very boring. I remember that I took notes of what she had to say about it, and I was disappointed at the time, and I thought, well, and one of the notes that I remember very clearly was that a lot of times stories do start with the person starting with their day, but it's not necessary, and it's kind of boring, and we've read it a million times before. And initially, I felt resistance. I thought, oh, how could you say that? I mean, I've read plenty of books where they start at the beginning of their day. Oh, right. Got them. Get it. Okay, cool. You want to write something that's going to entice your reader to keep reading, that will bring them in, that'll draw them into the story, and that will pique their interest. Give them something to talk about. Give them something to think about. Give them something to ponder. I'm going to read you the beginning of what exists now. It says, Chapter 1, now. Cement blocks weighed down my legs, or at least it felt that way. I looked at those 2 useless lumps, but I couldn't feel them. I could flex my toes a little, but nothing to write home about. Not being able to move your legs is the worst feeling. Tubes ran from the crook in my arm to the baggies hanging from the IV pole. The light had that antiseptic brightness and was possibly trying to burn out my retinas. My brain was fuzzy. I couldn't focus my thoughts. I licked my lips, dry, cracked. I blinked a few times and I tried to clear my throat. It was like someone had rubbed it raw with sandpaper. Awake, I see. Here you are, your morning cup of ice. This has a totally different tone, has a totally different style and feel, but I feel like it also makes you a little bit more interested. Where is this person? Why are they hooked up to an IV? What's going on? Who are they? I would invite you, as you're looking over the beginning of your story, think about a few things. Are you intriguing your reader? Are you setting up some questions that maybe they'll get some answers to either now or later in the story? Like with this one, what has happened to her? Why is she hooked up to an IV? 3. And the questions that you're setting up, are you making sure that there's going to be payoff? Because there's really nothing worse, and you know this as a reader, there's nothing worse for there to be a setup in the beginning and for there to be no payoff by the end. Like, that's just disappointing.
Disclaimer, this is not the only way to do things. This is the way that Tamara looks at her writing. Your models may vary, and it's okay if this doesn't work for you. Share what does. She's a writer, not a soothsayer. She can't even foretell the future for her characters like the Lean friend. However, she does know that starting is important. Don't let an imperfect beginning stop you from finding your ending.
There's a few of my tips and some of my experience with learning how to write a better beginning. Let me know in the comments, what are some of your tips or tricks for having an interesting beginning of your story. Thank you again, Robert, for letting me be involved in this journey. I look forward to watching all the videos that are in the playlist linked down below. Again, thank you so much for being here. My name is Tamara. I'm a cozy mystery author, and I love coffee, chocolate, and talk to you guys about books and writing. If you're looking for a little bit extra to tide you over while you're self-quarantining, we just posted AuthorTube News, the podcast that Kara Brown and I do where we talk about publishing news. So that'll be linked down in the description as well. And remember, I have a live stream every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.